Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. We are bound for some more news in the third-party space as usual, but it's been quite a lot of news lately. It's been picking up as we get to the end of the year, which surprisingly, I am surprised to see a lot of this news coming out, whether it's stuff we kind of knew about and just waiting for updates on, or just brand new stuff out of nowhere. So without further ado, I think we'll just get into it. But I do want to say a couple of things first, just put it on the radar. If you haven't checked it out, I have kind of opened up I think it's called a broadcast channel or something for Instagram. Me and Courier kind of share that a little bit. Mostly I let him, he's posting all the links and stuff in there in case you guys want to go buy anything, looking for, reputable stores. Go check that out if you want to. Additionally, if you haven't heard, there is going to be a stream with me, Rockchula, and other members this Friday. I believe it's going to be 6:30 my time, which is Pacific Standard. So if you want to come check that out, we'll be talking about Dragon Ball SH figure arts. And last but not least, of course, thank you for your time and thank you for supporting the channel. Get locked in because this is definitely going to be a long video. So first, without further ado, let's talk about 5K Toys. Now, it's like, I talked about this briefly in the last update video about this stuff, but they briefly mentioned that they would be holding pre-orders in a reply to a comment on their page. Now, yes, you could take those things with a grain of salt, but like 5K Toys typically does act on this stuff. And so I had a feeling that they were going to do this, which they did. They dropped pre-orders just randomly out of nowhere. And I mean, you guess you could say it's not out of nowhere since they did have some kind of prior communication via comment. But yes, like I was at work and then I happened to get off work and I'm like, what are all these notifications? Oh, Broly went up for ZL Studio and it already passed and apparently sold out. And then they announced another Broly, their Broly. Where is that picture at? Where is that picture at? I don't know where it went. It's right here. This Broly Garmer that, they teased a while ago. It's not like this is something new, but they announced that it's coming still, in 2026. So it's kind of like annoying that they do that, and it was kind of a missed opportunity. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a great shop to go buy stuff from. However, there are many other places to go get this stuff, and they just have the added benefit of being able to put a down payment early, as opposed to paying the whole difference at once. So I would say if you're looking for this Broly, don't feel disappointed you didn't get it at 5K Toys. At the other thing, you're waiting that extra month or two while they receive their orders, as opposed to ordering it on like Model Hobby Store or AliExpress, or I want to say Figure Arts Mate and stuff like that. You just, it's not really you missing out. So think of it that way. But moving forward, we also have some new pictures from ZT Studio on their Broly. If you haven't seen, I'm not going to go through, the whole thing here, but you get some size comparisons. I'm not sure if they have the picture next to the Beast Deities Broly, but it is pretty comparable in size. And I mean, it's up to you if you like it or not. Honestly, it's cool. I think I'm good on the Broly for now, and I'll wait for either an SH Figure Arts, or if this one, has some other crazy variant that they do and I like it, maybe I'll grab that. But for now, I'm really just focused on the restrained Broly body type. So yeah, we're going to quickly move away from that. Again, 5K Toys had this post and apparently it went back up, yada, yada, yada. Also, 5K Toys does have the YGMW studio, formerly OC Toys, and I've heard there's been some shifts in the team and management, whatever, between OC Toys and this, and someone took it over. I don't really want to get into the nitty gritty of that stuff anymore, but essentially it's been a change in, I guess, either ownership or who's managing the project. We have already seen kind of a prototype and articulation test, so we know that it's far along. It's been far along for a while. But if you'd like to pre-order, $14 down payment here at 5K Toys. Otherwise, go with AliExpress. It seems like their stuff was pretty good in stock for the first 3 variants of Vegito. So I would expect kind of that same difference here. However, there were rumblings, from various different people saying these probably won't be as high in quantity of, being manufactured and produced. So that could be a possibility. I don't say problem, but a possibility just to think about if you want to act on it now. But again, most of these places are going to have this available. You're just going to have to be act fairly quick when it releases. That's probably the best way I can say that. The Super Saiyan 4 Vegitos, the Xeno Super Saiyan 4, GT Super Saiyan 4, I think it's Limit Breaker Xeno Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. They are well on their way, and it sounds like they expect to be shipped at the end of November. We shall see. This initial picture, I was a little bit more skeptical. I mean, yes, we see the models there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to just ship it that next month. We'll get back to that picture in a second, but we got the box art. 5K Toys themselves posted it. They say late November, early December. Now, I don't know if that's their date they're talking about when they expect to receive it, because then that means it's going to come much sooner for those ordering directly from China. But we also did get kind of a peek at the figure and what their little, disguise is for it. So I do think that this is probably going to come a lot sooner than I initially thought. We also did get a little bit of a sneak peek for the Monkey King, the Goku variants that everybody's been asking, what happened to them? What happened to them? Why they move them back? And Yeah, I don't know why they moved them back, but I honestly not really mind that they did, because they are seeming to work with a lot more of a softer plastic material for these Gokus. In addition to them having interchangeable gis and stuff like that, I think they do need to take their time to make sure everything is working. They have had some decent products in the past with soft plastic, but those things ripped over time for a lot of people. I think they should have, the ability to take their time here. Again, Beast Deities, Kong Studios, Mythos Anime, whatever we're gonna call them, they used to post more. They used to have more news shared at a given time. They've kind of scaled back, and they, more trustworthy now. Obviously, as people know them, they release their products. But yeah, they've scaled back on updates like by a lot. So when you do pre-order stuff by them, expect that you won't be hearing anything for like a good while. Just be hovering over 5K Toys for the most part, because that's when most of the news starts to come out. But anyways, we're gonna go back to that one image here. Now, initially I just thought this was like the some variant or something for the Vegitos, but it's actually seeming to be some other project. Now, off the top of my head, I just know 5K Toys has the Broly's in hand, not in hand, but in mind to do. I'm not talking about the Super Saiyan 4 or 5 Broly's that they already showed them, did pre-orders for, but they have Cumber, then they have, those two Broly, or the restrained Broly's, and I think they have something else in the background. They've always talked about doing some kind of Vegetas as well, but I don't know what this could be. So we will just have to kind of keep our eye on it. They did say they were doing Gogetas. Now that I'm looking at that comment, and we never really got a confirmation on what Gogetos those were. It's just kind of like gauging what people liked based off the last post. However, somebody else brought a good point that if you're looking at the texture of the body, it doesn't really have those cuts where the skin would be. So that's what kind of makes it a little hard to tell of what it could be. So kind of leaves open-ended question. Also, now I'm thinking about it, they had the shadow dragons as well, but that doesn't really look like a shadow dragon to me. Anyways, so that's just something to look out for the future, but it does look like a pretty bulky dude, so there is that to consider. It'd be funny if they were going to do a great ape out of nowhere. But yeah, so that's 5K Toys / Kong Studios little updates there. We do have Tanaka Studio here. We got a couple new images of the Cybermen. Here's one, and it looks like pre-orders are expected to open sometime next month. And yeah, not too bad. I mean, I'm definitely interested to grab a set. I don't know how many they will do per set though. If they do 3 like they did, like KW did his, I'll probably grab a set. If it's just like one, I'd prefer to get like 3. But we'll see. We'll see how they do their pricing, what they include in accessories. I mean, this right here looks pretty cool. I will say that. But moving forward, we're going to try to make good time today, I promise, but no promises. Okay. A promise, but no promises. Crazy, right? Okay. So we have RECustom here, and I'm actually probably should have moved that tab way over, but we're going to come back to RECustom because I'm not going to say that the other stuff is RECustom. We're going to clarify that, but there, to my knowledge, has at least been like one look at what they were doing, but then again, it could not be them. It's possible. Again, I'll touch back on it in a little bit. Don't worry about that for now, but we have DKO and RECustom here teaming up to make another, I don't know if they've teamed up before, but making another head sculpt for Goku at least. And this time it sounds like it's for the Games Begin Goku. So they probably, I'm hoping at least, that they're either adapting it to the new peg system, because genuinely, when I reviewed that figure, I do think that peg system can work if Tamashii commits to it, right? Like if it's just a one and done thing, then yeah, we don't need to see it anymore. But if they can commit to it, I mean, then the third parties are going to commit to it, and they're also going to offer the conversion pegs and stuff like that. But I would like to see that become a standard just for the sake of us getting that articulation. However, with the way it looks in this render, if they do follow that neck peg system, it will cover the gaps that you kind of see on the Games Begin Goku. Granted, if you play around with the neck a little bit, you can hide it. But again, not everybody wants to get all sophisticated like that. Now, of course, this being another Goku head sculpt, Super Saiyan specifically, I'm not all that intrigued. But because it's like scene specific stuff, I think a lot more people would be more willing to grab it. It does come with, a decent amount of faces. Yeah, so I mean, it's probably worthwhile. I think it is up for pre-order already, on AliExpress, Xiaoyu, Taobao. I think it's up on Omnime as well if you'd like to go over there. And yeah, that's really about much I can say about it. It's obviously two variants, pretty typical. But yeah, that's that. And what can I say about RECustom right now? I'll hold on it. But DKO and RECustom, I guess actually they're one and the same for this. I don't know where they're at with this project, and I will say, like I said in the last video, DKO is not like super communicative in terms of like giving everybody an update. Even from what I've heard, like the stores that were working with him and holding his product for the Super Saiyan 2 Gokus on their stores or whatever for pre-orders, it sounded like they weren't getting necessarily the most accurate or detailed information on when stuff was going to release, because obviously then that puts them in a tough spot with, oh, now we've got to refund customers or whatever have you. That reveal or release happening as it did like a week or two ago with the Super Saiyan 2 Gokus, it was word that it was going to happen, but like he just never would confirm it. So like this right here, this Goku Black and the Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and on top of that, the Super Saiyan Goku you just saw, I don't know if there's going to be another Broly situation where they have this other project ready before the project they announced like way back when. I can't tell you, but I will be keeping an eye on it because I feel like this project should be relatively complete, but who knows? I would like to see it before the end of the year, honestly. Granted, this is back in May, so it's been some time, and I genuinely think that they can get this out pretty quick. Anyways, let's continue moving forward. The screen will not go black. So DCG. Now, this is from September, about a month ago. We got some word that there were recast being done of DCG's, Super Saiyan base Goku head sculpts. DCG did not like that. It's very evident. And I mean, a lot of the people, the studios, they don't like when stuff is recasted unless they gave permission, from what I heard. But it is a world of third parties out there. And unfortunately, people are going to do what they want to do once they get their hands on the sculpt. And stuff like that. And I should have said at the beginning of this video, but if you're at this point in the video and you're wondering why am I not talking about Black Hole Toys, check out the other video if I haven't posted it already, or look forward to it, because we're not going to talk about them in this video in terms of news. They've got some other stuff going on, but yeah, like this Goku Black, quote unquote, doesn't have the earring and stuff like that, so I'm not going to go through all these, but you get the gist. There's recasts in different colors. Then DCG decided to announce that they were doing, their own set of head sculpts here. Now, Courier says that this is not going to be the final look of these, sculpts from DCG. Simply put, I mean, they announced these in response to those recasts. But apparently they'll, make them look a little different. Now, I have to say, if that's the case, then don't announce them at all. Just wait and get your updated renders that look accurate to what you're going to make them into. Because a lot of people in this space, I think both in China and over here domestically, like they don't know what they get into sometimes. They expect to see the products as presented to them on this, picture. And when they get it, if it's not the same and that's what they expected, they're going to be pissed. I mean, like, it's happened so many times. And at this point, I feel like this is just not the way to go. Now, on top of that, these have been put up for pre-order from various shops. I don't think that's the right move. Especially if you don't know like what's the end product. At the end of the day, yes, it is up to the users to, you know, do research, you know, product research a little bit. And that's where I hopefully help you guys out as well as other people. But still, most people are just thinking, look at that, it's a Goku Black head sculpt and it looks decent. And then it might look like shit later or whatever you didn't want it to be. I don't know. I'm just giving, you know, a play-by-play of what could happen based on past responses to different studios doing stuff like that. HM, you know. But anyways, moving forward, we've also got a ZH Studio. Now, I did get some other information from their Xianyu. They did mention a couple of things, and I'll show it in the next post after this. But here's a quick look at the Super Saiyan in case you haven't seen it. Of course, things are still being adjusted. The price is about... Is it really 150? I don't remember it being 150 yuan, but it might still be on there. It hasn't gone up for pre-order yet, so I mean that price can change. I wouldn't look too deeply into that. They're expected to make about 300 sets, and let's see. I guess we'll get into the next pair of this. This is their first like sculpt that they've done as far as they're, you know, saying in terms of their page here. And let me scroll back to the bottom, not the bottom, to this last slide here, which is from their Xianyu that I found. But yeah, it's basically their first time doing a sculpt, it sounds like. So I would say give them some grace. I mean, it's not a product that's even for sale yet. I've seen a lot of people kind of already dissing it a little bit. I mean, that's fine if you don't like it. But like creative freedom, I guess. I mean, people are going to do what they want to do. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But I do think, you know, it's decent enough so far. I'm curious to see what the finalized version of it looks like. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's just kind of showcasing it. And genuinely, I mean, they're saying it could be next year for release and like Q1. But as you know, with third parties, man, these things can be bumped up to later, like 5 months later or whatever. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think just wait and see. You know what I mean? The initial first impressions are not always going to be good, especially if it's somebody's first time. So there's that. And then here's some comparisons between the Kami 1 / Taunton to the ZH. And I mean, again, you have options. I think that's the best thing is you have options. You know, if you don't like it, stick with the Taunton. If you don't like the Taunton and you don't like the ZH, then like go to Demonigo Fit. If you don't like all three of those, wait for a GM Studio. If you don't like GM Studio, well then shit, man. Wait for somebody else or go get Tamashi's. Like, you got options. There's not really a reason to complain about that, in my opinion. You've got different selections to choose from. And that brings us to GM. So this is kind of something we've already been talking about. This is just kind of a broader image, more clear image of what's so far looking to be offered. Don't have any other information in terms of pricing or release or, you know, anything like that. Just kind of to look at some of the expressions and the head sculpts. And it seems like they plan to do 2 and 2. So I'm imagining that they could probably do like either 3 of the same faceplates with one set and then the other set 3 of the same faceplates, or, you know, mix and match and try to make you buy all 4. It could be. I don't know. But we shall see whenever they decide to give us more information. Here is kind of and I mean, I'm sorry for the image, but that's about as good as it can get. Prototype preview of it. Another prototype preview of it uncolored. And that's about it. There's not really too much I can say there. Now we have, let me make sure I got the name right, because this is what I was talking about. We've got Iron Rhinoceros. And they are doing an Ultra Ego Vegeta head sculpt on top of some other stuff, which we will get into. But their prior projects that you may be familiar with is this Windswept Super Saiyan Goku head sculpt. And this was on Xianyu. Like, it was on Xianyu, it was on AliExpress. We've seen it. People bought it. I mean, it's been around for a while. If you haven't, you know, now you're seeing it. But apparently, you know, they're moving on to doing some other stuff. So they have this Ultra Ego Vegeta. And of course, we have RECustom who's doing Ultra Ego Vegeta. Now, RECustom's render, in comparison to that, looks very different. And I think it should be evident that they are not the same. You should be able to tell just based off of the type of input style that they have, and just the general style of the faceplate is different. The face different, head sculpt different. So that leaves me to just say again, this is not RECustom, and we're going to continue to see why. Now here's another image, you know, Iron Rhinoceros, and we'll continue to compare. You know, you could see it. If I go over here and try to compare, it does not look the same. Load page, come on, there we go. Then we got prototype previews of the actual head sculpt, the face. You could again tell the face similar to this one. It's not similar to the other one here. Again, I feel like we have seen some prototype of at least one of these expressions on here, but then again, that was a long time ago, and it could have been confused for the Iron Rhinoceros stuff. So we really don't know. But here also is some prototype images that have also come up, and hey, I gotta say, it looks really, really nice. And I mean, shoot, I will not complain about getting an Ultra Ego Vegeta sculpt for multiple people. So far, we've only had Kong, and there was another person that did it independently. They've done so far like 2 different versions of it, like version 1, and then they improved on it. I forget their name. But if you recall and you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments. But yeah, so far we haven't really been getting a whole bunch of them, and I'm really glad to start seeing that. You know, when we get a whole bunch of freaking Ultra Instinct Gokus, Transcended Ultra Instinct Gokus, whatever, you know, from the manga, all that stuff. So it's time for Vegeta to get some, you know, respect. I also came across this. I'm not sure if it's just an edited photo or if this is actually like one of the colors that they had on it, but like that kind of intrigued me a little bit just to see it like that. Not that I necessarily want a blue Ultra Ego, because I think that might be a little weird with the whole eyebrows. It looks good in purple, pink, whatever magenta color it is. But yeah, just something intriguing. Then we have another thing from Iron Rhinoceros here. And this is where I think a lot of people were getting confused. Information was getting mixed and matched and spread it around, and people didn't understand, because it seems like some studios are again doing the same thing or similar things. RECustom is also doing, well, to our knowledge, they are doing, you know, Windswept Vegeta from Android Saga style, you know, as well as just kind of a regular Vegeta head sculpt for Super Saiyan. And then we have this here, which people initially thought was RECustom, but it sounds like, based off of what I'm seeing, is another project from Iron Rhinoceros. So, you know, we've got a lot to be excited for in terms of, you know, Vegeta, and I'm actually really excited about that, because Vegeta doesn't get nearly enough love, I feel, as Goku does, of course, but like still, I need my goat to get some love in this space. So, and the reason why I think a lot of people also were like, oh, it's RECustom, these arms that RECustom has in their render as well. Where's the picture? We're gonna just divvy back on their account so you can see what I'm talking about. This right here, they have the same kind of thing going on, right? And I even reached out to, I think, King, Dragon Ball Toy Store, you know, the AliExpress store you guys see kind of a lot. And just for clarification, if they knew, and they did say like it's somebody else, it's not this person, and they clarified that. So it just gets a little confusing, and I think that's part of the problem with like people doing the same thing during the same time frame. Granted, RECustom has kind of been the first one to kind of preview this, but like I say, RECustom, if they're going to do something, they will post it on their page. They'll delete it sometimes, but they will post it, and eventually, you know, it'll be there long term. So if you need to know if something is theirs, I say just wait for them. And I mean, you can tell based off their style for the most part if it's them or not, just because it's very distinctive. So I will say it sounds like they are holding off to do this for the new Vegeta coming out next year. That's basically what it sounds like. But anyways, let's continue moving forward, because we are getting to the end here. So I think we're getting close. We're making decent time. We also do have another project from small Iron Rhinoceros here with the Windswept, and I think they have regular in here. Yeah, regular Vegeta, Namek Saga, and I can't complain. I mean, it's cool. I personally, I didn't have the biggest problem with the Namek Saga Vegetas that Tamashii released in terms of the head sculpts. The bodies, you know, that's a different story. I mean, they could have improved this area a little bit more. They could have actually given him updated legs. I mean, a whole update here, but you know, that's in the past. Can't do nothing about it now. But yeah, we've got a lot to be happy about. Now, again, see, people say RECustom, but it doesn't feel like it's RECustom unless RECustom is partnering with another person under a different name, and then, you know, they're going to release it as an XYZ thing if we're collaborating. I don't know. To me, if it's RECustom, you'll see it posted on their page. That's really about it, all I can say to make it clear. We have WP Model, I believe, doing another Guinea Force member. They just did Jace. It sounds like Jace came out pretty well done. A lot of people seem to enjoy that. Debonago Fit is the only other the only other, you know, company to have had something in the background for some of the Guinea Force, and then for some reason they just never committed to it. You know, they actually had prototypes, if I recall. This was like way back when, like 2 years ago, I believe. And I mean, Bombastic Plastic or Cyrus or some of my other fellow companions can correct me on that, but it definitely was like more than a year ago that we've seen that. But considering how expensive the freaking Guinea Force are today, you know, anybody redoing them in this capacity is probably for the best. I would like to see Tamashii do some kind of release for them. I mean, they are so invested in the Namek Saga, you might as well just do a general release of them in some way. I don't know. But yeah, that is something to be on the lookout for if you are looking for Guinea Force members. Let's continue. Hopefully the screen will load. Neo Kong. I'm not going to say too much on this. Apparently these are AI generated, which, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't like them regardless, just because the colors are like, I don't even know what they're doing. I mean, more power to the people who like that, but it just kind of feels like really random. And I mean, they could be doing other things, but Neo Kong is Neo Kong. They're doing their whatever. If you'd like to go over that a little bit more, check out Model Play Space. I'll post all this stuff, I think, on the community tab in a couple of, I'll say a day or two. It's just been a lot, you know, on top of personal life. So be on the lookout for that. Check community tab, check their, you know, page. Yeah, let's start closing it out. We've got Air and HM to talk about. Now, before I say anything about what they just teased here, I have no freaking idea what's going on with the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I'm not even worried about the Ultimate Gohan stuff, because that I already had pushed out of my mind to 2026. But the freaking Super Saiyan 2 Cell Saga Gohan, I don't know what's going on. It's gonna go on, what, 2 years? It's gonna go on 2 years if we don't see anything by the end of this year. And I think that right there is an unfortunate distinction. We all have to say, hey, I mean, like, you guys make some really great stuff, but like 2 years for some head sculpts is kind of crazy. I think you have to put your foot down after that point, because yes, you guys are making this stuff illegally at the end of the day. You don't really have a license to do that stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you know, you're promising a product. People understand that you're a third party. They like what you do. And yes, we have come to understand that you take a little longer in your process to get things out. A year, you know, understandable, depending on what it is and your credibility there. 2 years or a year and a half and then going on to 2 years is a little questionable for something like this. I mean, I don't know what it is that's taking so long with that Gohan, but we've already seen prototypes, and I mean, we heard that they were having to change the material or something along those lines like 4, 5, 6 months ago. No updates since then. I mean, I've asked people, like, have you heard anything? They just say no, and it just kind of is frustrating. I think there was a small video shown of the Gohan with the battle damaged accessories on him, you know, that little part of the kit for the set. And I mean, that looked cool, but still, what's going on with it? Because we've gotten other stuff from Air, at least on their side. We've gotten other stuff recently. And HM, I mean, they released those full power Super Saiyan Goku head sculpts. So I don't know. Anyways, so this is what they're teasing is basically a Super Saiyan. This is from the Buu Saga, essentially. The Rip Gi portion, you know, that's very like how he was in the Buu Saga fighting Majin Vegeta. I will say, based off my interaction with this figure, you will have to cut some plastic off of the blue piece, the undershirt, because it is kind of like glued on there, I think, as opposed to how Daima Goku is, where it's an independent piece entirely. That's at least my experience with it. Maybe I have to try hot water and it'll come off naturally, but so far I felt like I have to actually peel it off. Similar to how they did maybe like Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, maybe something like that. I have to really take it apart to see, but I just know it's not going to come off easy. So they have that, which I think is cool. They are also doing something that I think is way better than this, because it closes the problem out for a lot of people, in my opinion. A lot of people complain about this, and I'm not saying you're invalid for having that complaint, but this is really all I think Tamashii had to do to kind of satiate some of that, you know, problem and get people's interest in the figure more without it looking bad in places. Because genuinely, this right here is fine. I know Air, HM, they know how to use a good material when it comes to the soft plastic stuff. So while other people might be saying that it's going to sacrifice, you're going to be sacrificing range for this accessory, I disagree. I do think that you can still get a good bit of range because they know how to make the material rather flexible. If you've gotten any of their, you know, products over the last, I want to say year, let's say year and a half, since it's been some time. If you've gotten any of their products like the torn gi, the full gi, and all that stuff, the first go around, I think when they were doing it, yeah, it came out really like it was hard plastic and not flexible. They learned from that. The torn gi for the UI Goku, that one is soft plastic, but it wasn't as flexible as I think it should be or could have been to give them that shoulder range. However, they seem to have kind of gotten a little bit better now. The Daima Goku, that's kind of the material for, you know, for their kit with that I think is going to settle and be good. And with this Goku, with the way he's built internally, he's still going to get a lot of range regardless, especially if they kind of keep the cavity open in the middle for him to be able to move around. It should be relatively fine. That's kind of my thoughts and takes on it. And I don't think it's that big of a problem. So, you know, refer to my review if you disagree or agree. It's there. And there's the back side of it, of course. And overall, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's up to the person. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Also, they have this, I guess, extra faceplate that'll be coming, like with a reissue of this full power Super Saiyan Goku head sculpt. Is it cool? Yes. Is it going to be recasted? Yes. Is it going to be reprinted? Yes. So, I mean, my excitement level for something like a single faceplate being included, you know, with another set being reissued, not really that high, unless for some reason they include some other cool accessories, right? Like, it's got to be an overwhelming abundance of things I want in it for me to consider. But for the average person, maybe they like that. So something to think about. I'm not sure when it's going to be going up or whatever. I checked their Xianyu. I checked, you know, some various places. I didn't see anything go up in terms of like reissue and available for pre-order unless it already went up. In which case we'll just kind of have to wait for it to release. But as we're talking about them again, when it comes to Air and HM, they just take a long time to drop stuff, and it is not always worthwhile, in my opinion, to wait that long for a pre-order. You can absolutely do it just to secure your, you know, pre-order price in, so you're not paying anything higher later, because it most definitely will raise the price on these stores. But it's just, think about it. Think about it long term. Is that something you're going to be excited for 5, 6, 7 months, 2 years later? You still going to be excited for it? Yes, no? Think about it. And last but not least, it looks like they are also Air and HM partnering up. And I mean, you see things like this. They got prototypes. So like they're working. I just need to know like what's taking so long in that process in terms of getting stuff out. Obviously, it's not Air and HM, you know, the individual, like the artist having to individually manufacture that stuff, but like where's that discrepancy between them, you know, designers, and where the people at the factory, you know, mass producing? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But again, they have this slimmed down kit for the Beast Deities Vegetas. In a way, it also is a height extension, I guess. So you can use it for Trunks, for Goku. Quite frankly, I'm not really intrigued by it. I think it's cool if you want the Goku, like make a Goku for it. But in general, I think I have really gravitated towards the new style we're seeing with the, Sh Figuarts Vegeta. So I kind of want to see that in a better format, because this Beast Deities Vegeta is a good base, like to start and seeing what we can do in that kind of 3.0 headspace everybody has. But even more than that, I think we can do better. So, I mean, this is something in the interim if you want it. But I think if you just kind of have the standard Beast Deities Vegeta, or, I mean, even Daima Vegeta, you could work with it for a while. Or you just be patient and wait next year. That's my take. But it is available. And will be available at some point. Who knows in the future. Additionally, I didn't talk about this that much, but this Trunks head from, I believe it's Air. It's either Air or HM or both. I mean, they both work with each other. There were some updated images of it. Not sure when it's coming out, though. Not really. I don't want to get too deep into talking about when things get out with them, because it can change. The Vegitos from last year took so long, like just as an example. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I do want to give a shout out to, all of the channels on here, or pages, I should say. We've got Model Play Space, we've got Courier News. I'll give a shout out to LinYouDe as well. Down in the description, the very bottom, there's multiple people you can go check out down there. LinYouDe always has some good news. So, when you see this Billy icon or thing right here, that's where some of the pictures do come from, or just general information. He also shares some good stuff and has his own YouTube channel as well. So definitely go check him out over there. But yeah, that's been the news so far. At least most of the main news I feel is worth talking about in these days. Look forward to that other video if I haven't posted it about the black hole toy stuff, because boy, oh boy, they're very interesting in what they want to do today. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for it being a little long. Let's check before I end it. It's 36 minutes. Let's not waste another minute. But with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.